Hi, hello, and welcome to Quantum Healing Hands Tarot. Today I am bringing you a message about perspective. Our perception on life is absolutely everything, it creates our reality. And so sometimes we need a perception change. If we change how we're looking at things, we may be able to go about it differently. So I have a few questions asked about our perception and how, what is the question? How does my perception need to change to improve my life? That's the general message today. So if you already know which pile you want, go ahead and click the timestamp down below. If you need a little bit more help, let's get into it. So first we're going to take 3 deep breaths. All right, now that we're nice and relaxed, let's go ahead and check out the piles. So I got piles 1, 2, 3. So I don't usually like to name the stones because I'm not always accurate, but I do know that this is Snowflake Obsidian because I purchased it. This is a beautiful blue stone that is connected to our third eye. And this is selenite. We got a little kitty with a bow, a key, and a wing. I always thought of it as an angel wing, but it could be any wing that speaks to you. Eagle, dove, Pegasus, whatever, what have you. So these are the 3 piles. The way I choose my piles is I close my eyes and I ask my intuition for what pile to select, and I will very commonly see a number in my mind's eye as if I had been like staring at a light and I closed my eyes and the image was still there. So that's what I go with, because sometimes things can be misleading and I can get intrigued by one that may not actually be for me. So go ahead and just go with what your instinct is. Usually the first pile is the right pile. So click the timestamp down below to the pile that you've chosen, and let's get started. Hi, pile 1. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am here to bring you a message about perspective and our perception on reality and life. The main 3 topics are how you perceive yourself, how you perceive the world, and how you perceive other people. I wanted to know how these perspectives are helping you and hurting you and what you can do to change that. And so I got all these answers here today. Let's get started. All right. So the first question I asked was, what is your current perspective about yourself? The energy I'm getting is that you are somebody who has moved away from your family and your childhood home, and you've kind of really tried to start over and tried to find this sense of happiness, this sense of completion. And I have a feeling that you've been kind of running away from any sort of traditional sense of home and family. It's important to kind of reflect on your personal values and see if your actions are lining up with that. I feel like as much love as you have for yourself, which is obviously a lot, it's the 10 of Cups. But I'm not getting the energy from this card that you are in this completed, happy, beautiful home. I feel like you, of course, I believe you want that. But I believe the way you are perceiving yourself is someone who kind of runs away from all of that. Yeah, just overall the energy of the way you perceive yourself is you are someone who's going after your own goals, your own like material goals, career goals, and not your family is not your top priority. So that's how you perceive yourself. Next, I wanted to know how you perceive the world. Well, for starters, I feel like you see the world as a place that you're being told that it is full of love and opportunity, but I feel like you're not seeing that. I feel like you see the world as a place that you can't connect with and you want to. I feel like you've been trying to find this connection with the world. I feel like you're a creative, but I feel like sometimes you are disheartened by the world. Yeah, you definitely see the world as a greedy place. And I feel like that's kind of a struggle for you because you don't want to be a greedy person. You don't want to be a materialistic person. I feel like you truly are going after what your heart tells you to do. I think you've probably been in the world now long enough to know, wow, this place kind of sucks. And so I feel like that's a really big struggle for you. I feel like you feel you have to constantly protect yourself from the world. Yeah, you definitely have that energy of somebody who doesn't want to do a typical 9-to-5 job. I feel like you think that those jobs tear down your individuality, your happiness, and that those kind of jobs don't actually create perfect homes or perfect lives, as much as that sort of industry sells that idea. Yeah, you have this very straightforward perspective on the world, that it is selfish, greedy. I see your perspective of the world as harmful, not safe for your emotions. I feel like you see the world as a very greedy place, and you're trying to find where you fit in with that. Next question was, what is your perspective towards other people? Not only do you really see the world as a very greedy place, you see people as kind of unable to think beyond themselves. I feel like you also believe people are very selfish, and you don't want that. none of that is what you want, but this is just the perspective right now. And I feel like you have experienced a lot of greedy, selfish, and oddly codependent people. I feel like you've definitely isolated yourself from people. Maybe you've moved a lot. Yeah, and I don't think you feel very supported by anyone. And I feel like that's probably why you've isolated yourself, because you have these dreams you want to pursue. And, it's hard when the people around you are discouraging you. So that's very interesting and clear that you feel like you know why you have gone off into the world to follow your dreams. But I really feel like you've been experiencing that, even though you know you have to go into the world to be a creative and an artist, it has been very hard for you financially and politically. I feel like it's hard for you to find a place where you want to settle. And and you've really had to see some sides of people that you haven't appreciated. You've had to kind of remove yourself from family and friends and anyone that just either was codependent or just didn't care about you and your thoughts and your goals. So I don't feel like you have a good, I feel like your perspective of other people and the world is very heartbroken. So, but I do want to know, I asked more questions. Don't worry. I said, how is this holding you back? All right. The skills and gifts you have within you are your greatest treasure. They will never be stolen. Pay attention to the way you view the links between personal power and wealth. Prosperity needs to be developed over time and then shared. I feel like this is saying that the way you view the world is what's holding you back from gaining financial success, like raising above the vibration of where you are at financially. This is literally saying, be aware of your connections and your beliefs between personal power and wealth. I think that's saying you might have this sort of perspective that, that there's some reason in the world why you don't have more money. Like it's the job you have or some sort of setback in the world. I think there's a lot you could do to read about just vibrational energy and how it's a hard concept to swallow, especially when we all know, like, if you want money, you have to go to work one way or another. Because this rune represents cattle, so it's like hard work. And I have a feeling you think like you have to work as hard as a cattle to make money. And I invite you to start seeing it from a different perspective, just trying it out. Let's just try it out and say that every night before bed, you're going to start saying to yourself, like, money is on its way to me. In ways that I don't have to work for. Just start saying stuff like that. Keep doing what you're doing, but just start changing the way you're your perspective is on the situation, because your perspective is creating this sort of disconnect. And your perspective is saying like, oh, I don't have money because I can't get a job that's going to pay me enough. And while that can be true, you also deserve windfalls of money. You deserve that abundance in this world that exists, that I know you've heard about. And it's kind of just about tapping into that energy. And whether it's just like listening to healing tones, like listen to prosperity attracting music. I think you might be surprised. So, but the next thing I wanted to know is how does your perspective help you? So first of all, this is the charm with your rune on the back. It's a kitty. So, and I didn't read the poem because sometimes I feel like that can distract me from the message that I feel like I'm receiving. So if you really want message or the poem, please go ahead and pause it when you get there. All right. So this is how your perspective helps you in life, okay? The way forward is illuminated. Be the change you wish to see. Don't just talk, embody your message to the world. No one can know everything, so learn from trusted others or elders. By illuminating our shadow, we understand ourselves and our behaviors more deeply. Well, your perspective on the world is what makes you who you are. What makes you the fair person you are, the good friend that you are. You are all the things that you don't like about the world, that you don't like about other people. I have a feeling you are such a kind, amazing person. When you have someone in your life, you treat them like family. And possibly that's because you don't like the way your family treats you. But I feel like your perspective actually is what is guiding you forward. So trust in what you're doing. And yeah, I think what you're doing is perfectly in line with your purpose and what's going to bring you this prosperity. But I think like this whole reading is about our perspective, not just our actions. Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. I'll move forward, but it's the perspective of how easy or not easy money is to obtain. That's what the perspective is holding you back from. But you do know where you want to go because of this. So next I wanted to know how your perspective needs to change. Knight of Feather. So I definitely understand that you struggle on knowing how much control you have over your life. Kind of that free will and sort of like faded energy, like, is magic real kind of thing? Like, is the law of attraction truly what's happening? I feel like you just kind of need to refocus your energy and possibly the perspective that when a problem arises, it's going to maybe be more fatal. just changing those things up, kind of becoming a little bit more lighthearted. If you're a little bit more lighthearted on life, maybe things will attract you more quickly. It's hard sometimes to conceive that our belief in our ability to succeed is actually directly connected to our ability to manifest and succeed. So this is just kind of saying, like, refocus your energy because you have everything you need, but just kind of change up your belief system. I feel like you do kind of do the manifestation thing, but I also feel like you kind of sit and wait for it to show up. When it's kind of just important to like ask the universe for what we're wanting and to keep moving forward and just having faith and happiness in life. Have faith that what you're doing is going to work out. All right. The next question was, I asked, how can you facilitate this action? Like, what can you do? What can you do to facilitate this action? Do you shop a lot? Oh my God, that sounded like I was about to be in an infomercial, but do you? Because this is kind of saying you need to watch your spending. It would be really hard to see where there's growth for money and everything when maybe you don't have the best financial practices. So maybe if you spent a little less money, shopped a little less often, like especially if this is credit, what you buy is not going to make you feel that good. And this is actually one of the cards that you got on how you perceive the world. So you have this perception that the world is kind of all about money and everything, and it's very greedy. But then you have your own creature comforts. So maybe it's also about having understanding for, as creatures, we are all kind of invested in some sort of material thing. And I think sometimes seeing the way we view the world is actually the way we're viewing ourselves. That whole thing. So you definitely went into this situation of going out into the world with rose-colored glasses. I feel like ever since you left the nest, you've kind of been just day by day at a nice slow pace been falling out of love with life. So this card is saying it's important to look at the way you're acting and reflect on it. Are you being overly emotional? When something happens, are you kind of the martyr? Like, oh, everything like this happens to me. Because it's really important to know when we say those things, we're just reinforcing that thought process and that perception. Remember, this is a whole reading about our perception, our perspective on life. And it's saying your perspective of being very emotional, by changing this is what's going to kind of help you out. Just pay attention to how you're acting. Are you shopping too much and judging the world very harshly, but not walking the walk and talking the talk? The perspective that kind of needs to change is, I think that you kind of have this like standard and requirement for luxury in life, and it's kind of this thing of like, when you look around your home, if it doesn't look super fancy, I feel like you mentally tear yourself down for that. Of like, ugh, well, it's not like I have a really nice place. It's not like I have a really nice car. Like, I feel like you maybe put a little bit too much emphasis and importance on that sort of stuff. And by kind of lightening up about that, I think a lot of other things will, this is kind of one of those things that, it's like when you don't even know there's a smudge on your lens, on your camera lens. You're like, why is it so fuzzy? Like, that's what this is kind of saying. Because these cards are, how do you facilitate this action? What do you need to do to change your perspective? It's kind of saying, watch your shopping, watch your emotional reactions, watch out for the kind of expectation you have on materialistic things. So the energy I'm kind of getting from the King of Wands right now is that you have this very, very confident energy that you are going to succeed in life. And that's because you are. I feel like you have this sort of psychic abilities where you know that. But unfortunately, the perspective that you've been taking is this kind of like fake it till you make it thing. And I don't think that's working for you. I think because it's been coming off possibly as arrogant. And you're not. I think you're just really trying to figure out that balance of how do I encourage myself to go after the things I want to, because the world sucks. The world is harsh. I feel like you feel the world is always standing ready to hurt you and take you down and, you know, prevent you from having success. And yeah, maybe just that sort of like need to succeed can kind of be reeled in a little bit. I've been getting this energy the whole time that you kind of feel like if you succeed at like the job and the dream, then you'll go and find the other things. And it's not like I don't think you don't want a partner. I think I just feel like you haven't found anybody you trust. But it's definitely a mental thing of believing in that. There's an energy kind of coming in saying just like, well, you know, maybe relax a little bit on the like, I'm going to succeed and I'm going to do well and I'm going to be the king of what I'm doing. Because it's like, no, you totally can. I hear that. But you don't want to get to a certain age and find that you didn't succeed in the thing that you started going after and the thing that you left everybody behind for and the thing that you were like, no, I have to give it my all. You don't want to get to a certain age where that is not paying out for you and you're like, fuck, I wish I just would have found somebody I was happy with and that loved and accepted me. Shockingly, even though I know you have been experiencing a lot of setbacks and crap from the world, this card is kind of suggesting this card is kind of suggesting that you actually be more what's the word? Be more expectant that people are going to screw you over. Kind of expect it. I feel like you don't want to have this perspective of the world. But what it is you just need to see that, you just need to see that people are not there for your best interest. They don't care about your success. And as a whole, for the world, other people, they don't. So if you kind of go into it expecting that, it's this weird dance I see you doing of, at first you're like, everyone sucks. I'm gonna just cut everyone out. I'm gonna move and I'm gonna start my life over. I feel like you've done that a few times. But what I'm hearing is the common denominator in all of it is you. This is just talking about letting go of your past. I think it's time to kind of, all the things you've experienced up until this point, you've gone through a lot of hurt, you've seen a lot of crap, but you have the talent and skill. So that's why you're going after something. But there's just kind of a perspective change that needs to happen. And that perspective is, I think, how easily you are able to obtain money and happiness and love and success. I feel like you think you you give off that energy of like you are your own lover and mother and friend. You take care of you. But I really believe that it wouldn't hurt to just have faith that the universe can bring you exactly what you need to continue to evolve and grow spiritually. There's definitely an energy that you just kind of need to let go. You definitely have this sort of anger towards the world that it's not fair. And I think you have a lot more control than you know. So I wanted to know, last but not least, how this will improve your life. Well, for starters, you definitely have been disconnected from your inner voice. Something tells me you kind of don't trust it anymore. Like, I feel like you are where you are right now because of your inner voice, and I kind of feel like you're upset with yourself of like, how did I get here? That's interesting. I feel that this card is definitely letting you know to watch out for superficial level occult knowledge. You know, even though tarot readings can kind of seem like that. And that's why it's always important to not take these readings with full belief, because it is a collective reading. This is not an individual reading. And even then, the point of tarot is to let you know the path that you're on currently. And the beautiful thing about it is it's helpful in how to redirect you. I'm hearing to watch out for things like spell work, because even though it does work, there's very simple and healthy, clear ways to do quote unquote spell work. And that's journaling and having good feelings towards our dreams. When you start bringing in energies from other people, that's where you have to be careful. That's why I don't want to take any money from anybody. I just want to deliver these free messages because I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody. I'm trying to genuinely give this to the world. And I feel like you have been looking for some help on how to get the financial security you've been hoping for. And those things sometimes can backfire. You don't know who you're purchasing from and their intentions. So I think this perspective change is going to help you, honestly, with how you even view yourself as a feminine energy. Whether you're male or female, I feel like a lot of this has to do with your divine feminine energy. And so I just want to go back through so you're not like, what did you say to do again? So by watching your spending, because money is energy, when you're spending it, you're putting energy out into the world. Just as like when we work and we get money, that's energy coming back to us. Just watch how you're spending your energy and your money. Watch how you're having reactions. I feel like don't pay attention to the world so much, because there's a lot of really messed up things happening right now. If you're living in the States, then it's not easy, especially being a woman. So maybe you've really been struggling with things, a lot of the battles that have been going on right now. Kind of change your perspective on money and luxury. I'm hearing the phrase of how you have to be grateful for what you have to get more. Rather than looking at your lack, be grateful for what you have, and you'll start seeing more come in. And yeah, and watch how you're valuing your success. I feel like if you kind of stop looking at, getting, succeeding in a career, I kind of feel like you've been holding off on love, and I really feel like you could benefit from someone you could trust. And so that's what's hard is you want to know how to find someone to trust. I do have a reading about your future love. If you want to watch it, I'll put a card right here. But maybe that can kind of help you have hope for that. Because you just have so much energy here of like how hard you work for everything. And it's kind of this, you work harder, not smarter. So these are the things to kind of do. Just the perspective of thinking that I kind of hear, what I hear about the Knight of Feathers is saying that you have this idea that the great, powerful Oz is running things. And I think you're really trying to look behind the curtain to see how it's being done. How are they deceiving you? How is the world, you know, telling you to do one thing and really it's another? I think taking the focus off of the great scheme of the world and kind of turning it inwards is really going to help you. I think by releasing these kind of earthly materialistic things and expectations, you'll start hearing your inner voice again. It's definitely the feeling of maybe also too strong in your divine feminine, and maybe you need a little bit more balance with the divine masculine. So there are like tests you can take, just like sort of like a questionnaire thing that can kind of help show you what where your divine masculine and feminine are, and maybe if one needs help over the other. So let's see if there's any final messages. Your perspective on yourself is that you kind of are your own happy family. And you see the world as a place that is very hard to climb the ladder of success, and that you struggle to trust anybody. I believe that these sort of perspectives are what are holding you back from growth in financial success, just in kind of completion of life. But your perspective is good for you because you're not surprised. You kind of expect this stuff from the world. And so nothing has shocked you, but that doesn't mean it helps you. I think you actually have been feeling this so much that you haven't been going after love and things like that because it's hard to trust people. So yeah, you have made your own little happy family. But I really feel like you've disconnected from your inner voice. Yeah, you've been very, very hyper focused on work and the career aspect, that it's been hard for you to process your emotions because you're kind of repressing them. So a few of these cards have suggested take some time for you. You need to really sit down and allow those feelings you've been pushing down, allow them to come up. If it's something about, your relationship with your parents, or, the last romantic relationship you had, or maybe the relationship you have with yourself and the world, maybe these are some things to reflect on where you lost trust. Doing shadow work is a really good idea. That's a huge suggestion. Shadow work is a lot. It does bring up a lot, but if you're prepared for it, it can really help you greatly. So that's the message I'm getting for you, pile one, about how your perception needs to change. You want money, but you need to see that you need to stop having it's your mindset. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can look up on how to change your mindset towards a money-making mindset. So, pile one, thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted just a quick little helpful message to get you going, helping you out. This is a timeless message, so whenever you're seeing it, it's ready for you. So I really appreciate you being here today. If you like this message, you can go ahead and give it a little thumbs up. That helps me know that it's resonating with you. And if you love it, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and be a part of this tarot journey that I've just recently been on. It's been about a month now, and I can plan to continue. So thank you. Have a great day. Bye. Hi, Pile 2. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to bring you this message about our perception. They say perception is reality. So how we perceive things is going to change how we live our lives. And so I wanted to find out what your perspectives were on things like yourself and the world and other people, how it's holding you back and what you can do to help it, and kind of the overall outcome if you are able to take those steps. So let's get started. So this is a beautiful dark stone that my sister Kat got me. It is, I think, connected to the third eye. It's beautiful. And then the key. All right. So the first question was, how do you perceive yourself? Well, right up front, this is saying that you feel like you haven't fulfilled your childhood dreams, and that maybe you haven't been as successful as you've wanted to be. This has made you extremely emotional and depressed and withdrawn. I kind of feel like I see someone who has been started a music producing career, and you haven't hit the success that you wanted to at your age. And so you're just finding yourself very secluded and working all into the night and just kind of hoping like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to figure it out. Yeah, you definitely use this as a way to escape. And so this is something that so this is just how you're perceiving yourself. This isn't necessarily who you are, but I think you see yourself as someone who's maybe a little naive and should maybe give up on your dreams, which I do not agree with, but this is just your perception of yourself. Next, I wanted to know what your perception of the world was. That's really interesting. This card is telling me that you don't believe it is possible to live in the world right now. You are very potentially an adult who still lives with their parents, and if you don't, I feel like that you may be in that sort of place of like struggling with your place of residence, stability. And so you kind of have this belief that it's better to be living at home than, that way, as you're living at home, you're able to continue to pursue these dreams. But yeah, you definitely are like, oh yeah, the world is not a safe place for an individual like me. Next, I wanted to know what your perception of other people. So this is the energy of kind of that other people are not standing in your way, but that you haven't been able to find that right, like friend or, support system who like really understands what you're doing. Yeah, if you, it's this energy of like, if you're living at home, like you're so bogged down by the responsibilities that your parents are asking you to help out with because you live at home. And so it's kind of this thought process of like, I don't have time to even go after my dreams because I can't live out in the world. So I have to live at home and help my mom. And so it's this kind of overall energy of, you're someone who really has big dreams that are connected to that you've had your whole life, like from childhood. But I think you've kind of experienced how cruel and unstable the world is. And I feel like anytime you've ever had, anytime you've ever worked with anybody or had a friend, they've always kind of flaked out on you and didn't have the same commitment as you. So that's your perspective of yourself, the world, and other people. But I wanted to know next, how is this holding you back? Because you may not know how. So I'm not going to read the poem. So if you want to see that, you can just pause it and read that. But I'm just going to read the main point. Sorry, makeup everywhere. The Norns. While there may be things that are fated, still our will and energy can alter them. We all receive gifts from the divine at birth, which we can develop or ignore. Focus and energy must be put towards a task if it is to be successful. The perspective you're having is blocking you from your success because of a couple things. One, I believe you think that this is what you're going after is the gift that you were born with. This was gifted to you. So you're probably a very talented musician or artist, or you're really, really smart. And, so you've been going after like a really high position in a science job, something like that. So I believe you think that this is what you were born for, but I feel that there is also a part of you that thinks the world is not, is kind of working against you, which you're not wrong. But having your perspective that it's because there are other people standing your way or you don't have the time, like these are the reasons why your childhood dream hasn't come to fruition. Not because it's not possible, but it's actually the way, it's your perspective. That's what we're talking about here is your perception of reality is that the world isn't really supportive enough of you. And that's actually directing your future in that way. So yes, you were born with these gifts, but you need to understand that your belief in your success is writing your future. So it's sort of this thing of like, you may be kind of waiting for a sign from the universe of like, well, the universe will show me when it's time. But you need to actually believe and trust that you being born with this passion is exactly. Why did that take away my thoughts process? The sign you actually need is the fact that you were born with this gift. Don't let your kind of perception of the world change your direction. You know how they say, like, where you look while you're driving is where you go? That is 1,000,000% how it goes with life. If you keep looking at your failures, you're just going to keep failing. Learn from the failures and keep looking towards your success. So next I wanted to know how does this perspective help you though? Because your perspectives aren't always bad. Everything is on a spectrum. So it is the key. So I have a feeling that your perception of yourself and the world and others is the key to your success. So I already told you I'm not going to read the poem. If you want to pause it. From something small and insignificant, something big will grow. A birth, literal or figurative, will change your life. Take the current opportunity for a fresh start. Keep your plans close to your chest. Silence is wisdom's best reply. So, you actually have this kind of ability to not flaunt your ideas to the world, because I think you know that the world isn't necessarily always eager to hear what good ideas you have. You know, they say the ones closest to you will applaud you once strangers celebrate you. Something like that. So I feel like this perspective you have is helpful for you because you've learned to keep your projects very close to your chest, very quiet. And that's actually really good because people who talk about their dreams too quickly or these ideas that they get too soon are actually more likely to fail at them. So I have a feeling you like to write down your dreams, and they say less than like 2% of people actually write down their goals, and people who do write down their goals are 80% more likely to succeed. Now those are that's math I like. So write down your goals. I feel like you do. And that's the key to your success, is that you just need to kind of stop believing that it's not going to happen for you, because that's kind of turning your car in that direction. Go back to that childhood belief that anything is possible and you were born with this gift, so don't let it go to waste. Next, I wanted to know, how does your perspective need to change? So, Queen of Feathers, reversed, is talking about how you very possibly haven't been wanting to learn the lessons from all this pain. You know, if you've reached a certain age that you wanted to be successful at and you aren't there yet, that could hurt a lot. And something tells me you don't want to listen to the advice from, let's say, your parents, if that's who you live with. I feel like, they maybe aren't going after the same sort of thing as you or don't understand. So you kind of brush off their advice like, what do they know? A really hard fact that many people have to come to at some point in their life is that their parents weren't wrong about everything. Now, of course, there's going to be a small percentage of people where their parents weren't right about anything, but everybody's parents at least were right about something. And so I'm kind of getting that energy that your perception on other people's advice, and maybe you've also haven't changed up how you're going about this dream yet. And so switching up how you're going about it is actually really going to be helpful with changing the perspective. So I did ask how, let's get some help up in here. Oh, we just got one card. What can I do to facilitate this action? Well, for starters, this card is kind of calling you out that either your dreams from your childhood are slightly unrealistic, or you haven't been necessarily putting in the effort for them to be manifested, and you've kind of been hoping like, what, I wrote it down and I wished on a star, why has it not come towards me? And that's because you have to walk towards it. Whatever it is you are trying to accomplish from your childhood dream, you got to do something. It's not going to just like poof from nothing. And there's definitely a possibility that your perspective of maybe this lack of manifestation has kind of caused a sort of a feeling of something's missing. And so you've kind of been led to fill that hole with any other substance, like food or alcohol or drugs or anything that is going to be not actually healthy and helping you work towards those goals. Like I said, this card is kind of calling you out and just saying like, well, yeah, nothing's happened. You haven't taken the steps. And it's a perception change that will help you. Because if you're looking at it differently, you'll naturally take different steps. So it's really good that you do, you journal and you kind of have created this world in your mind of what you want to do. But I don't think you've wanted to take the advice from people who've tried to help you facilitate this stuff. And you gotta, if you want this to happen, I think there's kind of an adjustment of what you're doing. Are you sitting around thinking about how you have already failed at what you've wanted to succeed at? Like, the things that have helped me a lot is learning about, there are a lot of successful people that failed many times and were rejected in their fields that they became extremely successful and famous in. So just know that there's not a time limit. Even though we don't live forever on this earth, don't think as you've gotten older, it's too late to accomplish that dream. Go after that dream no matter what age you are. So I wanted to know if you are able to facilitate this action. I think if you're able to kind of take a big slice of humble pie that maybe you haven't known what to do and that you do need a little bit more advice, I think you will see some improvements, because you are extremely talented, but that doesn't mean you don't have room to grow and improve. And yeah, you probably don't meet a lot of people that have the same gifts as you. But it's important to kind of not brag about it all the time. Like, I feel like you've been that person who's definitely known you're going to succeed. So you've been bragging about how you're going to succeed for so long. And you haven't succeeded the way you thought you would by now. And so I kind of feel you're a little embarrassed and you're kind of secluding yourself. But you can turn this stuff around. Just kind of listen to what people have been advising you for. Try not to be overindulgent with things. Learn from the lessons of the past. See, you've already done a lot of stuff, so see where you've already made the mistakes with this. And one of those mistakes is thinking you're not going to succeed. Where you look is where the car is going to go. So if you are able to reverse this Nine of Cups back to the upright, I think so the way that this is going to improve your life is it's going to give you a reality check. I think it would be extremely beneficial to sit down with the people closest to you and kind of ask them their perspective and their perception of you. Now that could be really hard, but also you're going to be surprised and you're going to hear a lot of really nice things that you don't particularly feel about yourself. But ask for the people close to you, like, hey, you've been seeing me go after this dream for quite some time. Like, what's your perspective of me? A reality check is going to be so helpful for you because perception is reality. So if we're able to get a reality check and kind of change our perspective towards things, your childhood dream, the thing you've literally been wanting your entire life, will finally arrive. And it'll feel so, so good and complete. All of this is a part of your journey. You're not doing anything wrong. Let me state that right now. You are not doing anything wrong. You are walking on the path to success. You are supposed to be here because you're supposed to learn these lessons and grow, because the person you're going to become is going to be so much stronger and smarter and more caring and giving because you've gone through this. And you're gonna turn around your possibly kind of, it's probably been really hard for you because you know you're super talented, and it's kind of important to know, like, hard work trumps talent. And that's where I'm going to leave that. I really appreciated this reading. I thought this was such a clear message of a perception change. You have success ahead of you. It's literally written in your path. You were born with a gift. Just learn from the lessons that you've already had. You've already made mistakes. You've already done all that. Learn from it. Don't repeat it. Go to the ones close to you and ask for help, and you'll hear a lot of surprising things. I think you're more loved and more respected than you know, and more people believe in you than you know. So that could really help. Pile 2, I really appreciate this reading. Thank you so much for letting me channel your energy. It is always such an honor to be able to deliver any sort of message. Thank you for being with me. I know I'm kind of a tough love reader, but I'm always just wanting to help you improve, I promise. So If you liked this reading, will you go ahead and give it a little thumbs up? Lets me know that the reading really resonated with you. And if you loved it, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. It just is absolutely wonderful seeing people are joining me on this tarot journey. It has now been 1 month since I started, and so it has improved my well-being so much. And so I just really appreciate you all being here, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye. Hi, Pile 3. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to bring you this super important message about our perception. So, perception is reality, and how we perceive ourselves and the world and other people can actually greatly impact our success in life. So I wanted to see, what was going on with your perceptions and if there was any blockages. And also, don't worry, I always ask for a positive thing. So yeah, I think that's all. Let's get started. We got the angel wing and the selenite. Get it? So the first one I asked was, what is my current perspective about myself? So I see that the perspective you have of yourself is that I feel like you've been kind of feeling like you've been in a bad mood a lot, and I just feel like you haven't been happy with the way you've been feeling, with the way you've been acting. And so you kind of have this really negative perspective of yourself. And so it's probably dragging you down in a lot of other areas if you don't feel good about yourself. Like something might have happened recently that made you lose confidence. And so you've just been kind of in this lull. Indicates like a shrinking violet, like you're kind of like hiding away from the world right now. This is how you see yourself, or you're perceiving yourself. Next, I wanted to know how you're perceiving the world. Well, with the Three of Diamonds kind of in this position, it's sort of like a reverse, because this is how we're trying to figure out how your perspectives need to change. And so I feel like you have this perception of the world that just no one is easy to work with, and like you're just kind of done with the group of people that you've been you're just kind of ready to break free from the group that you've been working with. Because in that group may just be the world. Like the world is just not easy to work with. It's not teamwork all the time. Yeah, this is just kind of saying that, like, I feel like you don't find work exciting. You don't find the world exciting. You're in this super, super lull. And I'm so sorry. But don't worry, it is just the way you're looking at things. I promise. We have a lot of questions, but the last thing I want to know your perception of was other people. Well, I like this because this, again, it's like it's in reverse. This is actually saying you really have faith in people. Not the world, not corporations. Like, I feel like you have friends who are such good people that it makes you kind of feel bad about yourself, like you're not accomplishing enough. Like, don't shrink yourself down just because you have extremely talented friends. You have giving, generous, loving friends who've probably helped pull you out of many situations. And I get this impression that you feel like not worthy of it. Like, I feel like you think like, oh, I'm just another person in the world who's taking. When it's like, no, this is the universe giving you a gift. You see other people as reliable and helpful, and that's really awesome. That's a good, perspective. It may be what has causing you to not feel the best about yourself because you have like such good friends. But whatever job sect you've been working in, I feel like you're done with it. Like, I definitely see kind of like, you have a group of friends who have a mindset that has really encouraged you. But yeah, definitely something has kind of happened where I feel like you're you're feeling down about yourself. But I wanted to know how these perspectives are holding you back. So I'm not going to read the poem, so if you want to see that, just go ahead and pause that. But I'm going to read the kind of about. Gabo. Seek equality in your relationships, especially intimate relationships. Avoid people-pleasing and codependence. Family and work harmony is paramount. You will be acknowledged for your fine work and good deeds. A gift will be matched. There's a natural justice that runs through life. This will be upheld. I'm getting this impression that you possibly rely on people too much. Like, when I was getting this card, it was kind of like, oh, you take the handout when it's being offered. And you may be wondering, like, well, yeah, am I not supposed to? You are. But this is about balance. And what this is saying is this energy is holding you back from giving balance. I think you think the world is kind of really cruel, and then you have these great friends who've been able to help you out, and you're like, oh, thank God, and you kind of like fall back into their arms, but they don't want to keep holding you. And I feel like maybe like your friends like set you down, like they didn't throw you out or anything, and that maybe is kind of what has left you feeling crappy about yourself. So the next thing is Yggdrasil. You are part of the tree of life. You belong. You are part of something bigger than you realize. You deserve a wonderful life. Your destiny is both fated and shaped by your will. Be present. Be grounded. I do feel that your perspective of the world has kind of made you feel disconnected to where you belong. And you kind of have been left feeling just very sad and alone, and kind of this perspective that you're kind of a failure and not really living up to your potential, and that the world is out to get you, has kind of disconnected you from what good you could be providing for other people. You have gifts and skills and love to give, and these amazing friends would love to receive it. But you kind of have to learn about who you are. Having a different perspective change is what's going to be important here. Like, maybe you start seeing the world as a little bit more generous and start giving to the world, and start seeing that, like, it's okay that you make failures, that you fail at things that you've tried to succeed at, because the point is growth. Maybe don't rely on your friends so much. or give them give something back. That's what I'm kind of feeling. Like cook your friends dinner. Just something, from the heart. But next I wanted to know, it's the rune. I wanted to know how your perspective actually helps you. So the way that your perspective of the world and of yourself is actually helping you, know that you are protected. Only positive energy flows your way. Expressing daily gratitude will create profound change. Have hope. Happiness is within your grasp. The time for sorrow is over. Grief is necessary, but soon will diminish. Seek balance in all things. Truly, your perspective on the world has protected you, truthfully, from probably putting yourself in a lot of bad situations. And your perspective of your friends has helped you put the value on your friends that they deserve. So, for some particular reason, I'm also getting that what you've gone through with whatever has created this perception of yourself, it's actually been really helpful for you, because I feel like you know when someone's lying to you, and you kind of have no room for bullshit. So even though, yeah, you may not have the most confidence in yourself because you haven't been truly succeeding at what you wanted, this perception of yourself is protecting you. This whole perception you have of the world and other people has protected you. It's held you back from, I think, seeing your place in the world, because you believe you've been seeing the world a little too selfish and your friends a little too giving. So this perception has caused you to maybe not be so giving to your friends and not really seeing the world as a place where you belong. And you do. So I asked how does the perspective need to change? So this card here is saying that it's kind of important for you to be moving through the heartache you're feeling right now. There's kind of a painful process you're maybe wanting to step around. And that perception that avoiding the pain is going to be helpful is not accurate, because it's just prolonging the progress and the healing. Because the sadness needs to be released. And the way you release it is, pain and sadness is actually stored in our body. So we have to get it out. I think I'm trying to figure out the 3 different ways. I know it's like exercise, crying, and if you know what the other one is, please let me know. But when you're working through those things, it can actually be released from the body, and you'll start to be able to experience a lot more love and courage to continue to go towards. I think you're trying to find your purpose in this world. And I think you have a lot of stuff from your past to kind of work through. And because this is the moth. And moth is always about like transformation and rebirth. So really getting to the root of what's hurting you. what you're protecting yourself from. You're on your way. Yeah, you're on your way to completely healing. I think you're going to find a lot of personal power that you've maybe thought you lost. And so that's going to be really, really lovely experience. Next, I wanted to know what you could do to facilitate this action. So, it's only so helpful to know that you need to release this. So how do you release this? So I'm getting this energy that you have kind of a lot to unpack. You have a lot of emotional things to work through. But the advice is really just saying to pick your battles. So I think write down everything that kind of really hurts you and really work through what thing do I need to talk to somebody about? What thing can be worked through with journaling? What thing on that list do I need to go to the top of a mountain and scream my lungs out? Pick your battles wisely because your energy is valuable. And I think that's been a huge connecting factor, that your energy's been kind of drained, and so you've kind of had to be helped out a lot. And so now you're just trying to figure out how to get back up, how to release this pain. Write down each thing that hurts you. And sometimes writing it down will kind of bring the truth to it, in the way of maybe you thought you were more upset about something until you wrote it down and was like, I guess now that I've written that out, I realized I'm upset for a different reason than I thought. And picking these battles so there's definitely, you may hold on to every little transgression you have with somebody. And you may be struggling of hey, I know you're my best friend, but remember when you told me that it was hard that I didn't wash the dishes? That made me feel really bad. Your friend may have offended you in something that was a little too truthful. But there's so much value in having friends that are honest. So it's better to have a friend that's hey, assuming you guys live together or something, and it's hey, the dishes have been kind of piling up and they're yours. Can you wash them, please? And maybe that wasn't the nicest way to say it, and maybe it really hurt your feelings and you felt really isolated and alone. But the truth is you have to be aware of how you affect other people. And just pick your battles. Is that a friend looking out for you? Is that a friend trying to stab you in the back? You're gonna feel so much more at peace, because this really causes you to be angry at people when that's not healthy nor probably fair for you and these people. So I did want to know what, if you're able to facilitate this action of change, how this will improve your life. So what I really appreciate about the Fool, especially in this position, is this is saying that if you're able to lay your sword down and not put the energy towards fighting the world, I think you're going to see the opportunity of becoming your best self is opening up. So it's kind of like once you stop focusing on other people's drama, you are able to kind of focus on yourself and improving yourself. Like, make yourself feel worthy of being in the limelight. And I think you kind of have to discover where your heart and soul is lying. I think you've been, just kind of distracted with, heartbreak and the lack of trust in the world, that you haven't even really wanted to try and go after the Fool's Journey. The Fool is the first card of the tarot deck. So this is just a whole, and like, this is literally saying if you're able to pick your battles, you're going to be able to grow into somebody who can start the journey of their life's purpose. Like, going after everything you wanted. Every little thing you can imagine can be yours. Honestly, just letting down your swords and letting go of the fight that I think you've been fighting for so long is going to free you up and just make you feel so much more at peace and ready to experience life. Like, you have been protected. You have a quick wit, and you know how when someone comes at you, you are ready to fight. You're like, what did you say? And we all know that that doesn't make for friendship. So, study the Fool's Journey and see how each card in the major arcana is playing out a specific role in our life. It's like in a movie, The Hero's Journey. It kind of crosses all these important parts that actually represent what we go through in life. And I think you're just kind of in a certain spot that's heading on to the next part of the journey. And this card says, like, sometimes you have to go blindly, have blind faith. Like, you don't see where you're going, but you just need to have faith in your heart that you are a part of the bigger picture, that the things that you want to create and bring to the world are actually going to heal the world. It's so important for everyone to understand, to find out what makes us happy and to do that thing, because that's what the world needs. Yeah. Pile 3. This is how your perception needs to change to improve your life. You've just been a little down on yourself, a little lack of faith in the world, and a little too much trust, too much leaning on your friends. It's kind of blocking you from seeing your place in the world and being able to give back what you've been given. It does help you in terms of being protected. Like, you don't put yourself in a lot of bad situations, but maybe you're not putting yourself in enough situations. The things that have hurt you in the past, it's really important to process that. You hold on to that stuff a little too much. So pick your battles. know which ones are like, no, I'm fighting for this. And then the other ones that are like, maybe that's just a waste of energy. Because you have this opportunity to, that's so cool that you got the Fool here. Because this is saying if you change this perspective, your life is going to improve literally in a whole new way. Your life is starting. I've been getting the impression kind of through this whole thing that you haven't known exactly your life's purpose. But if you pick your battles, you're going to be able to put that energy towards what your purpose is. I love this card so much. I really appreciated being able to channel your energy and help you out with this. Perception is reality. So if we're able to kind of change the way we are looking at things, it's like when we go to the eye doctor and they're like changing the lenses. That's what this is kind of saying. It's like, hey, if you can kind of just shift this up, maybe not pick every fight, maybe not hold on to every grudge, the picture will kind of come across a little bit more clearly. Maybe pick up some selenite. It's a stone of clearing energy. So, like, I think this is one of the ones that doesn't ever really have to be cleansed or charged because it does that on its own. So it's a super powerful energy of a crystal. Well, pile 3, I can't think of anything else. I think that is where the reading is being closed at. I greatly appreciate this. It is truly an honor every time you let me channel your energy. And if this is your first time, thank you so much for trusting me. If you liked this video, if you click that little thumbs up button, it lets me know that this resonated with you, and that just helps me a lot with what I'm doing. And if you loved it, I would just love for you to subscribe to my channel. Today is my 1 month of doing tarot, so publicly for people. So 1 month. Thank you for joining me, and there's a lot more to come. I hope you have a great day, everybody.